Anytime a podcast opens with a content warning, you know you're in for a treat, and this is a content warning. We have a friend jumping on the show with us today. Well, Destin's old friend. I'm just meeting the guy, but he's really funny and really honest, and we asked him to tell us very, very truthfully what it was like to go through Marine Corps boot camp. And as, I don't know, you might imagine, that's a pretty colorful subject, and it requires pretty colorful language. So there's going to be a lot more bleeping in this episode than usual. I know a lot of you like to listen to this with your kids, and we like that you can listen to this with your kids. So here is your fair warning, heads up, even though stuff is bleeped. I mean, y'all are smart, and your kids are smart, and you can piece it together. So listen with caution, but also know this is really fun, and I think you're going to super enjoy it. Additionally, even if you're cool with the bleeping, we do get into the deep water about fatherhood and some of the anxiety and fear that comes along with carrying out that role. And so, I don't know, maybe you don't want to get into that conversation with your kids just yet either. So consider yourself super, hyper, ultra warned about everything. Now let's go have a fun conversation about Marine boot camp. All right, here we go. Okay, so you've got this friend Lee who I've never met, and you call me up, what was that, yesterday, the day before?
Day before.
Whatever.
Yep.
And you're still residually laughing from a conversation that happened a couple hours earlier. And when that happens, I feel inclined to try to share it with the third chair. So
Yeah.
What is the deal with Lee, and why are we about to bring him on here?
So here's the deal. I personally like episodes where we have a guest on, and I really like just to see the dynamic between them and you, and I just like to introduce you to my friends because you're my friend. But the cool thing about Lee is he is the most freaking genuinely real person I've probably ever met. Like, I met him down here in Alabama, and he's from Michigan, and he was in the Marines, and he got out, and now he's got these boys that I teach in class, and I don't know, the dynamic is fascinating. And on top of that, he's absolutely hilarious, and he knows nothing about No Dumb Questions. So it sounds like a recipe for like awesomeness. Yeah.
Well, the stories that you started to tease with me sounded delightful. So let's just do it. Is he on his way?
Yeah, he'll be here in a second.
Okay, I'm going to sit tight till he shows up then.
Okay, cool. I don't know, here's some interlude music or something.
Oh, I like that.
So this is my buddy Lee, all right?
Hi, Lee.
Hola. Lee and I go to church together. We got to talking, when was that? On Wednesday night. Mm-hmm. And we got to talking about Marine Corps stuff. And I knew at that moment, I was like, you have to meet Matt. This just has to happen.
That's good. How long have you known each other?
7 years?
I think so.
Something around there. The first thing Destin ever said to me was, we were like in a genuine conversation, was at a church league softball game in which he told me, he said, you are probably one of the most real people I know, but we can't swear at the pitcher. Because I was like, because I don't know. I was joking and I was getting, but he was just like, yeah, we're not, no.
Did I say that?
Yeah, you were like, wrong league. I was like, all right.
What did you say?
You stopped me pre-swear word because we were joking about talking trash, and then I was like, yeah, and this mother, and you were like, whoa, no. Then you gave me the cutoff, and I was like, all right.
That's the kind of people I like going to church with. Real people.
But the thing is like I was new to the world. I didn't know what was allowed and what wasn't, and I was gonna let people tell me. I still haven't figured it out, but.
So I got to talking with Lee the other day, and the topic came up on training soldiers. And
That's not at all what we were talking about.
Well, that was part of what we were talking about.
Training Marines.
Oh, is there a difference between Marines and soldiers?
Is there a difference?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Soldiers want to be us.
Really?
That's right.
Are you being serious? You kind of went to an alpha place.
I'm just messing with you. There's different levels of Marine.
Yeah.
Okay. And at the top one is what we call, when you're a little too motivated, we call those. And those are the ones that are like, soldiers want to be us. Yeah. I'm not that guy. No. But you got Marines, Army has soldiers, Air Force have airmen, Navy has sailors. So, yeah.
Show Matt what I'm looking at on your forearms here, just so we have a context there.
So this was in fact my moment.
Okay.
And that says Semper Fidelis, and for those who don't know, that is right and left in Latin.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. It means always faithful.
Okay, and always faithful is
the Marine Corps motto.
The Marine Corps motto.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you know that Abraham Lincoln's dog was named Fido, and that's where the whole Fido thing comes from?
What?
And that he named him that because Fido is short for Fidelis, or for faithful in Latin. So everybody's dog who named their dog after Abraham Lincoln's dog, it's all from the same thing. Fido, Fidelis, same deal.
Is that real?
Yeah, just let the brain matter leak out the ear. That's truth.
It better be, because I'm so excited about it. Because my kid Ben, go to him and bring up Abe Lincoln and see if you get a word about Jesus in that Sunday. He's all about Abe.
Really?
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I got some knowledge to go drop on him. So thank you for that, Matt.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, I'm here to help.
Why did you get Semper Fidelis tattoo?
Because all of the power in Okinawa went out, and at 6 a.m. I started drinking a handle of Jim Beam.
Whoa.
Which is, so you have pints and fifths. A handle is that next level.
Like a pail.
It literally has a handle on it.
Yeah, and somewhere around noon, I was like, time for some good decisions. And then I woke up with Semper Fidelis here and my wife's name. Thank God we got married right here.
Can I see it?
Yeah, man.
I'm seeing man boobs. Oh, I've never seen this.
Why would you?
I don't know.
I mean, we're sitting this close, and I'm like, yeah.
It's pretty good script, though.
And that's the only context in which I've ever observed your relationship. So it does seem weird to me that you've never seen this group.
Yeah.
I recently went to Marine Corps training in Oahu. I did dunker training. Have you ever done dunker training?
Is that when they flip the Humvee in the water?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Except this was for a helicopter. But
I did Humvee.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I realized, and I talked about this with you, Matt, when I was doing this training, there was this really weird thing that was going on. All the soldiers, all the Marines.
Thank you.
Were acting like they weren't scared. But I think they totally were scared.
Oh, no, we have an absolutely incredible game face when we are crapping our pants. It starts in boot camp because you're doing things you've never done before, from things like the gas chamber, right? That's a fun one. Yeah, going in the gas chamber for the first time, like you got to keep a game face on. You can't let everyone know that you're freaking out. Like,
what does one do in a gas chamber?
Drill instructors go into the gas chamber itself, and basically they're training you how to use your gas mask. So you go in, and they have you do a series of exercises, do jumping jacks, push-ups, sit-ups, things like that. And then they have what they call donning your mask. Like you push out the air release so you can blow out any type of toxins that are in your mask, and then you release it. You got a clean mask again. Then they'll have you take it off and put it on top of your head, do some more running around, some more jumping jacks, calisthenics, so you're basically sucking in some of this air. It's getting your eyes, it's burning your face and your skin. Then you put the mask back on, don it again, clear it out, and then the last portion is they take the mask and they have you throw it in front of you. And if you're lucky enough and they don't catch you closing your eyes or holding your breath, because if they do, they're going to kick that mask across the room, and it's so cloudy you can't see anything. And by you're trying to scrambling to find this mask, and once you put it back on and clear it, you get to laugh at everyone else. There's literally grown men like crying and trying to escape this gas chamber. And then when you get out, there's snot, drool, and it's the most disgusting thing you'll ever see in your life. And watch videos. Go to YouTube and look up gas chamber Marine Corps. You see people coming out. Just it's disgusting.
Really?
Yeah.
How long does it take you to come back from that?
I was probably, and I'll admit this, I was probably the most scared going into it. I was shaking because I have this thing where I don't like not breathing.
Well, I can understand that. You said it. Everybody knows it now.
Yeah. And
Lee likes to breathe.
I like to breathe. So when I went in, it honestly really didn't bother me that much. I didn't have that much of an itch, or I wasn't drooling and everything. And I was surprised, but there were people that they had buckets of snot just pouring from their face, and it's disgusting.
I have a buddy who bear sprayed himself a couple weeks ago. He hunts in grizzly territory because all the best elk are where the giant megafauna are that want to eat your brain. And so he's back there and he carries 2 cans of bear spray because sometimes apparently he feels one will not deter a grizzly. And he has had to deploy it against grizzlies before. And he's all hunkered down and weird, cockeyed and stuff, calling in a bull. And he broke the plastic safety on the bear spray and didn't know it. He was bow hunting. So he rose up trying to be all sneaky and just hears this hissing, and he lurches and he jumps because your heart's got to be going 1 billion miles an hour when you're bow hunting and at that range from a bull. Freaks out, and what he did is he just hosed his whole chest, his vest, and all of his gear in this orange cloud of bear spray, and he said it started to affect him. He told me it took him 3 days to recover, and he didn't get himself in the face.
Yeah, no, this is CS gas. Once you get out, I mean, after I'd say about, anywhere from, for me, it wasn't long. It was maybe 5 minutes. But I would say for someone it really affected, 20, half hour, and it was done,
You mean once you start breathing good air, you can clear it out?
Oh, yeah. You once you get in that oxygen hits, you could still feel it irritating your skin a little bit. You can feel it irritating your eyes a little bit. But for people that it really hits, they're beet red and real itchy and all the snot pouring from them. It's gross. And here's the thing: is all that snot and stuff's piled up inside the mask.
Sometimes to prepare, for my job, when you're in seminary, you have to sit for real long periods of time and reflect on stuff that people wrote a long time ago. And there are snacks. You have snacks and sometimes coffee.
So it's same, same thing.
Yeah, it's hard. So
I know we wandered down that road, but starting and things like that.
So yeah,
you have the ability, going through boot camp, to put on a game face, you're not scared when you're actually wanting to pee all over yourself.
So Marines in general think they're a cut above every other soldier, correct? In general, not speaking about you.
Yeah, I would say yes.
Yeah,
I'll just say yeah. I'm not going to try to. Yeah.
No,
we have that. We're the smallest branch, and there's not too many Marines that I know that don't have just an insane level of pride in being a Marine. So
really,
yeah.
So what is it that's different about the Marines than the rest of the branches, in terms of training, or what is it?
Well, to start with, a lot of people that I've talked to who's I was going to join the Marine Corps, but I didn't, and I went here. Plus, you'll always hear, a lot of times I've heard, I didn't want to deal with boot camp. Our boot camp is longer. Our boot camp is 13 weeks, and it can be pretty intense. And, prisoners have more freedom than a Marine and Marine Corps boot camp.
There's 2 places that you do that. There's Parris Island and then
San Diego. You have MCRD, San Diego. That's Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego, and Marine Corps Recruit Depot, Parris Island. And that's in South Carolina.
Do you know how I knew that?
How'd you know that?
Because that's where Sergeant Slaughter worked in G.I. Joe.
And as you should. I didn't know that.
So which one did you go to?
I was San Diego.
You were Hollywood.
I was a Hollywood.
Yeah. I can tell.
So what I didn't know was the line in Michigan, where I recruited out of, is cut right down the middle. So everybody on the eastern side of the state goes to Parris Island. Anybody on the western side of the state goes to San Diego. And my wife went to a college near Grand Rapids called Grand Valley State. And before I left, I wanted to spend the last few months with her, and recruited out of there, and they sent me west. And there's a war still raging today between those who went west versus those who were in Parris Island.
What's the stereotype between Hollywoods and?
So here's the thing: is I'll give it to him. Parris Island is, you think Marine Corps boot camp, you think Parris Island. It's a tradition that of the Marine Corps to go there, but you'll hear some of the banter back and forth. You'll be you're Hollywood, and and you don't have to deal with sand fleas, and I'm like, that's your defense. You stood up to sand fleas, and but at the same time, I don't know. I'd go nuts. I've never had to deal with them. So, but then we come back with something like, yeah, well, you were in Parris Island, and that's where they train the women, because the Marine Corps doesn't care about equality. Gender equality. Yeah, we're just like, you trade with the girls. and they're like, no, and then the girls are standing right there like, we can hear you.
Yeah.
And we're stronger than most of you.
Yeah.
So,
well, there are female Marines now, right?
Well, there's always been female Marines, but now they're women are allowed to serve in infantry now, which I never had a problem with. My problem was whoever wants to do infantry, whoever wants to do whatever job it may be, whether you're male or female, I feel like there should be a standard or requirement to be met, and not modified for anyone. Like, everybody meets this, and if you can meet that, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah. I have a friend who, she was going for Rangers. She was one of the first classes. And she said at the end of the training, she had done everything, and she had to do a certain amount of push-ups.
Yeah.
And she said the guy was telling her to do push-ups, and she started doing the push-ups, and he would not count the last two. And she would do it, and he wouldn't count it.
Just because he didn't want women in infantry, because she was...
Her in particular.
Okay.
For whatever reason, he had something against her, and he wouldn't count her last two push-ups, which ended up failing her out. Which ended up being, I mean, that'd be an intense thing. That's injustice, right? And
I just stand up right there and give him a quick bag smack.
Really?
And I'm out. You don't pass me, that's fine. I'm going to tag you one. Right in the boys.
So in boot camp, it's called boot camp, right?
Yeah.
Now, I've heard stories of the drill sergeants.
Drill instructors.
Drill instructors?
Yeah, Marines have drill instructors. Army has drill sergeants.
Okay. I've heard they do all kinds of crazy stuff, and they're just absolutely tyrants. But they're screwing with you the whole time, right?
Yeah. In Marine Corps boot camp, you will have a number of either 3 or 4 what we call hats. So those are drill instructors, smoky covers. So you have a senior. So let's say we were just doing a 3-hat drill instructors. You have a senior drill instructor, you have a heavy, and you have a kill hat. So your senior, he's kind of like daddy. He's the one that they say you can go to, right? He's not there all the time giving you the business or taking you, like, he's the one, he's up, about your concerns, talking to, I mean, as much as a drill instructor can care at that point. Like, there's really not a whole lot of love there, but they call him dad. That's who all the other, DIs report to. And then you have your heavy, who is a demon in himself, but he is the one who is teaching you in boot camp. He's got a lot of the lessons come through him. He's the one who's keeping up with schedules and what classes to get you to and what training you're getting. And then you have the kill hat. And if you're unlucky like myself and you went to one with 4, you have 2 kill hats. And I'll give you 2 guesses what his job is.
To kill you.
Yeah, to make your life a living hell.
Okay.
And and they're really good at it.
Really?
So, yeah, I was telling you earlier, being a new recruit, they got us all together, and I did not know how to put my uniform together. So they were showing us that. And Drill Instructor Sergeant Gandhi was one of my kill hats, and I think he was moving his way up to be a heavy. And he was training us and teaching us how to put our uniforms together. And I'm sitting there. And,
like how to tie your shoes?
No, like, so when you're putting your uniform together and you're putting your ribbons on, they go, 1/8 of an inch apart, and how to, put the belt on properly, how to tie a tie. You got a lot of guys there who don't know how to tie ties and things like that. And so I'm really watching because I know we're going to get inspected. And I know I don't want to screw this up. And then I feel something real close to my ear, even closer than what we're sitting right now.
Pretty close.
And this was Drill Instructor Staff Sergeant Tehan, who whispers in, says, "You're gazing pretty hard there."
And good luck with bleeping that, Tina. I believe that phrase is going to be good, and then a real long beep, and then kind of the end of a syllable, and then another real long beep, and then us laughing. Trust me, third chair, it was funny and deeply offensive.
So just explain to the third chair what he said, what he was accusing you of doing.
So he accused me of staring south of the belt longer than one should, and then gave me the most appropriate, in his eyes, title as to why I was doing that. And me being me, one thing that a Marine is striving to do all the time is to keep their bearing, which means not to laugh. And I was the worst, absolute worst of holding my bearing. I could not keep my bearing to save my life. I laughed at everything, and they found out in that moment that would be the case for the rest of boot camp. because like who just comes up and whispers that into someone's ear? And I just thought it was amazing. And I lost it. And he starts screaming, everybody get on the racks, which means you got to go to, run to your rack, your bed, and stand at the foot of it at the position of attention. And I got smoked for the next, what felt like half hour. And what that means is basically you're getting physical fitness. You're getting PT'd. You're doing push-ups, sit-ups, mountain climbers, burpees, all that stuff. And, until you basically have a sweat puddle the width of your shoulders. And that was my life every day.
So did this happen on day one?
This was a couple days in. So when you get to boot camp, it's 13 weeks. That first week is receiving. That week, you're not with your actual drill instructors. You're usually babysat until your cycle begins. And for that week, you're getting all administrative stuff taken care of. You're turning in personal stuff like, the clothes you came in with. Because when you show up, it's just... You have your SRB, your service record book, and the clothes on your back. And then they shuttle you into this building where there's a bunch of like basically like cubbyhole type things, and there's a bunch of lines, and guys are handing all their belongings in, and that's like you could see guys that's when they've noticed they've screwed up because you have drill instructors just flying everywhere screaming, and people are like, oh, why did I do this? And they're freaking out. And the guy in front of me, I knew it. I had a feeling. He looked too confused for what was happening. And I'm like, this isn't good. This is my line. And the guy in front of me, when we got to the front, all you had to do was hand in your shoes, your clothes, other things, and they hand you just basically your temporary clothing until you get with your camis. They call them go fasters. Those are shoes, running shoes. Mm-hmm. And he gets to the front, and they're screaming at him to take his stuff in, to get his stuff off. And he was like, whoa, just ask me. I'll do it. You don't got to yell. And I was like, no. Because out of left field comes 4 or 5 more drill instructors, and they're losing it on this kid. And I'm like, they're still going to be there when I get. So I get to the front, and I'm naked. Like, I'm like, it's my turn. I'm like, here you go. And they're like, whoa, at least put some clothes on. No, I wasn't naked, but I was ready to go. Then like, look, I'm not with him. But after that, you hand in, give him your SRB, and you stand on the yellow footprints, the iconic yellow footprints where no matter which side you go to. And you read off the Marine Corps creed again, you swear in again, Marine Corps style, and then hell begins. And you go through, the medical portion, the shot gauntlet, where you walk through and they're popping you with shots. And, who knows, you may have gotten 2 or 3 shots of the same one you don't need, but it doesn't matter. You're getting them anyway. I was one of what they call a problem child, in the sense that I was one of the ones that was hard to break. You're getting kids from all walks of life, whether it's from low class, middle class, high class, some without fathers, and this is about these drill instructors are about as close as fathers these kids are going to get. Like, they're making men and women, and they're shaping Marines, and some of us are a little harder to break than others. I kind of knew what I was getting into because I do have a lot of military in my family, and I just laugh at everything. It's just I use humor to deal with everything. So right out the gate, I was always first rack, and everybody always tries to hide out in the back because it takes you want to, like, because the duty hut where the drill instructor stays up front, no one wants to be up front. So being the problem child, I was always up front. I had no bearing. I laughed at everything. And in boot camp, there's jobs. So you have the guide. He's kind of like the leader of boot camp. Then you have 4 squad leaders. But then there's also unspoken jobs, which is the jobs I had.
What do you mean? Like, if you were just a problem child, they would give you things to do just because they wanted you to be busy?
You earn these jobs. The first job, I was basically shower music.
What?
Yeah. So
you could have let me guess all night, and I would not have come up with that.
Yeah. So in boot camp, hygiene time, you literally have next to no time. So like, when you start off in station 1 and you're brushing your teeth and shaving, it's literally get your toothbrush ready, put toothpaste on your toothbrush, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, put it in your mouth, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and they're flying. And then you make same thing goes with shaving. You make your way to the shower, and you get in the shower, like, put shampoo in your hand, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, put it in your hair, it's at 10, 9, 8. Everything is just so fast and purposeful and quick. And you have no idea how many times I've gone to sleep with shampoo still on my head. and body.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
me
like
too.
move with speed.
Yeah.
Move with purpose. And there's a reason for all that. And that, again, and it's speed and purpose.
But how are you shower music?
We have what we call initial PFT and final PFT. It's like a competition. Amongst platoons for physical fitness, we also have initial drill, final drill. It's like everything's competition in boot camp. Well, we got an extra, I think it was like they gave you like 5 to 10 minutes. I forgot what it was of hygiene time. A regular shower would be for most, but for us it was like we have eternity because we're used to these second showers. But that didn't mean we could talk. And we're all standing around, and a lot of these guys are, just telling jokes and laughing. And this drill instructor came in and just buries this kid. I mean, he's in his face, and I don't know if it was. I'm sure it was a purpose, but it looked like the kid slips, he hits the ground, and the drill instructor said they're smoking him in the shower.
and the kid's butt naked.
And we're all eyes forward, watch it. So this guy leaves, the drill instructor leaves, and this guy's on the floor, like basically in tears, and nobody's saying a thing. So the first thing in my head was, we're gonna sing. And I thought he was far enough away, the drill instructor, and I started singing, "Friend, how many of us have them?" And like, 'cause nobody's helping him. And I just hear, and I was, oh no. So, and then I get smoked. And at the
as you're butt naked.
Yeah, it's very it's very yeah. So every day for hygiene time, I got to come up with 3 or 4 songs that cover all of hygiene time, and I better know the words. So every day I'm asking people, I'm running out of songs fast. It's surprising how much like you don't know the lyric of a song, because songs will come to you, but you're like, I don't know the guys. What do you know how the songs go? Because you don't want to get smoked later that day for not knowing it. So that was one of my jobs.
Wait a second. Do I understand correctly? The drill sergeant made you sing naked to other naked men.
Shoulder. Yes.
Because you decided to sing, and he's like, your job now
is to be hygiene music. Your shower music now. You get to sing to everybody because you're an idiot. You want to sing and have fun? That's fine. I'm going to smoke you, and now you get to sing to everyone.
Did you do that for 13 weeks?
It felt like I may have got out of it a couple times, but yeah, for the most part, that was my gig.
Why would they do that to you?
Why would they? Yeah, why would they? So you don't screw up again. Like that's just how it works. There's like, why would you pick up somebody's spit and put it in your pocket? Why would I be apologizing to puddles that I stepped in? When you're marching in formation and you step in puddles, there's no avoiding it, and I have to apologize to a puddle in front of the entire battalion. Why?
That happened?
Oh yeah.
But wait. Okay, no, I really actually want to understand this. So you're marching in formation.
Yeah.
The point, I assume, is discipline and working in concert with other people on something that maybe doesn't matter as much to practice working in concert on something that does matter. That'd be my guess.
Yeah.
So wouldn't it be desirable to not care about stepping in a puddle and just to step in it?
You would think, but here's the thing. In boot camp, there is no right answer. Like, there's just not. Everywhere you go, you march in formation. That's just how it is. You're always working on your drill. You're always working on working together. You're always working for the most uniform and in sync drill. And sometimes things like that, when it's raining, puddles are unavoidable. Like, you just go through it. You keep the mindset, I don't care if I'm going to get wet. I'm going through. And yeah, I did. I stepped in a puddle, and I don't know if I just had my number that day, but I was forced to get on my face and apologize to the puddle in front of the platoon.
What did you say? How did you square accounts with the puddle?
I got down in the push-up position, and I went nose to puddle, and I said, he said, now apologize. And I said, I'm sorry, puddle. And he said, keep going. And I was like, I'm sorry for stepping in you, puddle. And guess what happened?
What?
I laughed. And guess what happened after that? I got smoked.
In what way?
Well, guess what?
So wait, let me get this straight. Drill sergeant says apologize to the puddle.
Yeah.
You get on your hands and knees, and you apologize to the puddle.
Yes.
And then you realize you're apologizing to a puddle.
And I laugh.
And you laugh.
And then in boot camp, you're never far from a sand pit. And that's a lot of times where you're getting smoked. So guess what happened?
What happened?
I got smoked. Off to the sand pit I went.
When you say go off to the sand pit, what does that mean?
Anywhere you go, whether there's an obstacle course or out, they literally have them outside the chow hall. Anywhere you go, you're not far from a sand pit. And they'll have pull-up bars there. Some have ropes, things like that. And they'll take you out there and you push. You push ups, sit-ups, burpees, all that stuff. And you go and you make mud with your sweat. Another one of my jobs was to make fun of recruits. That was a knack my senior drill instructor noticed I had. So he called us all in the classroom. And that basically means he stands there and you all sit Indian style around him. And he asks, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And you kind of share how things have been going. And this one kid started crying. His name was Recruit Raider. He's just losing it. And the senior drill instructor said, what's wrong? And he said, my wife sent me divorce papers. And my senior was like, congratulations. This kid went to sit back down. And he was like, no, stand back up. And he goes, tell us about it. He went on this rant. I'm listening to this white trash soap opera. And I was like, I'm going to get smoked anyway. So I just started chanting Jerry. Like, Jerry, Jerry, Jerry. And when a drill instructor doesn't want to laugh or he has to laugh, he will pull his hat was called the Smoky. He'll pull it over his face. And all he did was pull it over his face, snapped his fingers, and pointed next to him, which means get over here and start pushing. And from that point on, he told me that anytime he points at somebody, I got to make fun of him. So that happened a lot. That happened a lot. He told
you, like, when he points at somebody.
If something happened, he clicks it. He was like, if he says Renna, clicks and points, I better be ready to go.
Can I just try it?
Matt pointed at me and you wouldn't do it.
Yeah, it's really disappointing.
Oh, this one? Oh, there's too much material to work with. Are you kidding me? Let's start with this setup.
So how would you do it? So Matt's the drill instructor.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do it, Matt. Snap and point at Destin. So he covered his face with his hat. He snapped. He pointed at me.
And then I would just have to come up and
do it. You have free
Don't
reign.
tell me what you would do. Do what you would do.
All right.
You were made for this.
So I'd say something like, making me sit way too close to him.
Is this conversation with Lee reminding you of Ender's Game?
Absolutely. When we listened to it on Audible, that was, the drill instructor, Lee wants me to say, that doesn't get it. I don't know. There's no right answer, right? Enderwigan. There's no right answer. You're always going to do the wrong thing.
Right.
He's always going to get on to you. Yeah, I really like that book.
Yeah, it's fun to talk with somebody who actually has gone through this to get the real life perspective instead of the fictional perspective. But good recommendation. I dragged my feet a little bit, and you were dead right on that one. Are you still working through Them by Ben Sass?
I am. I'm about 1/3 of the way through. I'm enjoying it. It's making me think about my interactions with other people in real life. So, yeah, thanks for that recommendation.
Yeah, same here. Unique perspective on what could be better and what is going well. I've appreciated it.
So the point is, if you're not listening to audiobooks, you really should be listening to audiobooks because you learn stuff, right?
Yeah.
We have an offer, right?
Yes, we do. So for a limited time, you can get 3 months of Audible for $6.95 a month. And an Audible membership includes 1 credit toward anything in their unmatched library of stuff. Plus now you get to pick from any 2 Audible originals. Have you looked at any of those yet?
Yeah, there's this lady that we listen to in the car a lot of times. Her name is Laurie Berkner. She must be a parent because she said, all these children's songs that I hear are awful. So she set out to make really good children's songs. So she has this thing called Laurie Berkner's Song and Story Kitchen. That's an Audible original. The only place you can hear it is right there on Audible. Audible is one of those things that you can use to actually enhance your life. Like, there's not many things you can do with your phone that makes your life better, makes you more intelligent. A lot of it's like taking your attention away. But the cool thing about Audible is when I'm driving, it can actually focus me and help me make myself better by putting information in my brain. It's like reclaiming time.
I am getting so in the habit of going audiobooks to accompany me to any of the projects I do around the house that I'm actually starting to map in my brain what audiobook went with what project. So this one fantasy book is attached to the patio. Them will forever be attached to me fixing the sump pump. So it's great for filling in the gaps.
Yeah. So you can give the gift of listening. You can do that by getting 3 months of Audible for just $6.95 a month. You can go to audible.com/NDQ or text NDQ to 500-500. Again, that's $6.95 a month for 3 months of Audible for a limited time. Go to audible.com/NDQ or text NDQ to 500-500.
Huge thanks to Audible for being such a longtime partner with No Dumb Questions. And we've got somebody who's waiting on us to jump back into the conversation. So check out Audible, give it as a gift this Christmas, and let's go talk with Lee.
Let's do it.
When you're talking about having your rack up by the front,
Yeah.
by one of your drill instructors, it reminded me of Ender Wiggin being forced to sit all the way up at the front. I'm just trying to read your face to see if you know who Ender Wiggin is, if you've ever been around that book.
Do you know what's funny about that? I've never made that connection.
Yeah, look at that.
What?
That he brought that up, that Ender Wiggins front rack, that I was always for totally different reasons. He was a military genius and I was a goofball. I couldn't shut his mouth.
The effect is the same.
So, or did they think I was a military genius because I refused to shut my mouth?
You never know.
Probably not.
When did you read Ender's Game?
So, again, problem child. And when I was in 8th grade, my mom decided, I got a plan. I'm going to take this kid who's struggling in public school and I'm going to put him in Catholic private school where kids are light years ahead of him academically, and that'll solve everything. So these kids, I would come into class and they were reading for fun and discussing books. And I'm like, you guys read for fun? Losers. And I seriously didn't get this. This was not the crowd I ran with growing up. You know, my friends were a little more rowdy and looking to do the opposite of good things. So I said, if I want to talk to these kids and hang out with them, I got to find some kind of connection. So the library had this shelf of books that they always, if they had extras or, you know, duplicates of, they would lay out. And I went up and I was going through all these books and I found this one called Ender's Game. I had no clue that it was this big time science fiction book. And I went home and I must have read the thing 3 times. Like, you ever been excited to talk to someone about something but you're looking for any window to get that discussion going?
No, I don't think we can relate to that.
Good morning, Leah. So what did you do? Did you guys ever read Ender's Game? And then, so yeah, that was the first book I actually read for fun. That's where my love for sci-fi came in.
What hooked you about it?
The writing was so good that, like, and by the way, Ender's Game, the movie, was the first time that I've read a book. The characters in the movie, the cast they chose, matched what was in my head.
Really?
Every other time I've read a book like The Hunger Games, I was like, yeah, that's not what she looks like. That's not her. You guys got it wrong. Do it again. but Ender's Game, they were spot on. I think the fact that you could tell that Ender was on this path of military genius and he was this special kid who wasn't supposed to be special. He was a third. He wasn't even supposed to be there. And, you know, the fate of the world was in this kid's hands. Everything about that. I mean, I absolutely love that book.
Did anybody ever get legit hurt? What if there's an actual injury?
Yeah. So during, it's called the confidence course. There's an obstacle called the Stairway to Heaven. And basically there's 2 beams that go up and there's logs that, it makes it look like a ladder. But the higher you go, the farther apart these logs get. And this goes up, I don't want to overshoot, but let's call it, I don't know, 30 plus feet. And one of the kids, he was close to the top, and down he came, back first.
Why are you smiling?
Because it was hilarious.
That'll change your life.
And then he hit, and the bottom is just nothing but mulch. It looks like this thick mulch, or like this bark mulch thing around the bottom of the pit, and he hit it with a thud. Poof. And you think there would be some sympathy there. No. Drill instructor ran over, realized nothing was broken, and they just started getting in him. Get up. Get up. Get him once. And I think a drill instructor screaming at a kid to get up from that, in the sense that he gets up and you're okay, he's okay, but he's not showing any sign of worry. Because if the kid's not moving, then you're like, all right, whatever. Then get Corman over here. Corman are our medics. But yeah, that kid hit pretty, and he was fine. I mean, he had to sit there and figure things out for a minute, but he was all right.
So nobody ever got really hurt?
No, not like bad. But you have a guy, you have kids who roll ankles and some kids will break legs or something like that. They'll just get dropped to the, medical platoon or.
Yeah, but did anybody ever get their feelings hurt? Because that's part of a person.
Yeah, that's not a thing.
Was there any accommodation for that?
If there is, you're in the wrong business.
Did people ever get sent home, legit?
Not from my platoon, but I do know of kids that I recognize from other platoons who did get sent home for medical reasons. There are people who try to get out of boot camp for other reasons, like they just don't want to be there, and it never succeeds. You just end up getting dropped to another platoon who is in a lower cycle, meaning you get to stay in boot camp longer. You're not going anywhere.
Really?
Yeah. Do you know how much money they're investing in you when you get there from boot camp, from medical to food to clothing? No, you're not going anywhere. Unless you do something pretty stupid.
And like completely sabotage your own life.
Yeah, try to kill yourself. You really, really, really get hurt. Yeah, but you ain't going nowhere.
What do you think is the purpose of all this? So we all know there's a stereotype of it being funny and it being hard and difficult, but there's a reason.
Yeah. Like one of the things you're always going to hear about Marine Corps boot camp is you got to be fast and you got to be loud. Everything in Marine Corps boot camp is just chaotic. It's just at all times from the first time they come in and all foot lockers are dumped in the center of the floor in your barracks room, and they're scrambling everybody's stuff together, and then they're giving you 30 seconds to get your stuff back together and back on your. And now you're going through pencils, underwear, socks, t-shirts. It's all labeled. You're not going to get your stuff back, but everybody's freaking out and scrambling. It's all basically training yourself in chaotic situations to keep calm and try to do things fast, communicate, work as a team. And that's the biggest thing, is moving fast, working as a team, and, just not freaking out from like the beginning of boot camp to the end. That's the point. If you're in combat and you got the stuff hitting the fan, bullets are grazing you, and the last thing you need is you to fold to the pressure. So that's throughout from day one. That's all you're feeling is pressure on, like you're on a constant panic attack verge every day. Like, am I going to get smoked? Am I going to get, blah, 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 that is the reasoning behind all this. I got named squad leader for my violence.
What do you mean?
So I joined the Marine Corps basically because I was not like yourself. I did not have a good head on my shoulders as a young man. College was not in my future. I was very into fighting and drinking and the ladies and things that don't lead you up a successful path, So I was like, I need to do something. So I joined the Marine Corps, and I did not have those things that I was very dependent upon in boot camp. So I was fighting all the time. I was literally getting into fights. And one of the last times I got into a fight, my senior was like, next time you fight, I'm dropping you. Basically meaning he's dropping me in the next platoon, and I'm going to be in boot camp even longer. So I was at medical, and it was either medical or dental, and I forgot what it was for. But I went into what we call the bathroom, and I got into it with a kid in the bathroom. But a janitor, custodian, whatever you prefer, was changing out the old metal paper towel dispensers, the ones you would have to roll, and he just put up a new plastic one. And I started getting in with this kid, and I reached up because he hadn't put the plastic one up yet. And I started, beating the brakes off this kid with the plastic paper towel dispenser.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Like, it wasn't bad because it was plastic. It wasn't like I used the metal one. The metal one would have been bad. But the drill instructors came flying in, peeled me off, peeled him off, separated us because he was hitting me too. I get drugged all the way back to my barracks and go in the duty hut. And my senior is just looking at me because he knows what I did. Like, the only time another drill instructor brings you into a duty is because you did something to his platoon, or he caught you doing something. And he explained everything that happened, and my senior started laughing. He's like, "What are you laughing at?" And he said, "Well, while he was at medical, we had a class which was weapon of opportunity. So it looks like he didn't miss a thing." And he promoted me. I became second squad leader.
How many fights did you get in while you were there?
Probably 4 or 5.
Destin, how many fights have you been in your whole life?
Oh, like honest to goodness fights, like punching people in the face, like maybe 1. I don't know.
Your sister doesn't count.
Okay, 0.
0.
Yeah. But no, like, fighting is not encouraged, but you will stand up for yourself, and you will stand up for your platoon, and you will do whatever it is, to protect your platoon and yourself. But by no means are they encouraged, like, go kick this kid's butt or anything like that. I mean, but at the end of the day, if you're fighting for yourself or your platoon, then what's going to happen to you?
Is this the hardest thing you ever did, those 13 weeks?
No. The most annoying part about boot camp is putting up with all the games. Dealing with getting in trouble when you're not the one who got everyone in trouble. That was the hard part. The physical stuff, I've always been an athletic guy. When I was I played sports my whole life. The physical part of it wasn't bad, but
is that basically the game? Once you figure out that they're going to screw with you no matter what.
Yeah, and that's why I did well in boot camp, is because my uncle's telling me, like, you got to understand, like, it's all head games. You're there for a reason. They're there to make you and forge you into a Marine.
So is that the idea, to tear you down and then build you back up?
That's the entire point. They've got a great system. Men and women from all walks of life. When they get to boot camp, there's going to be people who they don't have father figures. Some people genuinely don't know a lot of right from wrong. Or, guys like me who, I didn't know how to pay bills. I didn't know how to, I was not a responsible adult. And they shape you into that. Which I guarantee you, Marines who are listening right now are laughing. He's like, I was not a responsible adult after boot camp. But, I mean, like, you progress farther along than where you were. But no, that 13-week boot camp was not the hardest thing I ever did. Getting out of the Marine Corps was the hardest thing I ever did.
Because once you were in, that was life.
Yeah, I really did enjoy it. And when you're a kid like myself, who I didn't want to be an engineer growing up. I didn't know what I wanted. But then I was a part of something, and I was a part of something that I felt was special, and I was doing something. And I got out because we had our twins the last year I was in, and you home 6 months, gone a year, home 6 months, gone a year. They wouldn't have known who I was. So I got out for family reasons, and when I did, I spent the next decade trying to find some purpose. And, luckily I was able to get in a job where I still get to work with the military, and even though I'm not wearing the green suit, I still get to help them.
Have you felt any degree of connection with a group of people that even compares to the connection you felt with the group of guys you were there with?
No, it's not the same. When you experience, fear and like emotion at that level, when you know that the person that you're next to is willing to give their life for you and you for them, and you are actually, when you're put into that ring together, I don't think you'll ever find anything like that outside of like me giving my life for my family. Like there's no connection. Like that's why, I still keep in touch with a lot of my Marine buddies to this day. So
how do you keep everything after that from being a letdown in terms of friendship and relationships? That's
a problem. You hear of a lot of bad situations coming from it. Guys trying to find that same feeling in the bottom of a bottle or other places, bottom of a pill bottle, trying to feel those feelings again, trying to feel that rush of combat with your buddy or something like that. And it's just, you never find it again.
Somebody told me this is true. Matt, you know a lot about, Matt has some degrees in like military tactics and history and stuff. I heard that there used to be this thing that the Romans would do where it was like you would surrender the sword. Like there's this transition moment where when you get out of the military, you actually do, there's a ceremony that's like, I am no longer a warrior. I am a civilian. There's like a ceremony. Is that true? Have you ever heard anything about that?
They tried to make that a habit in the late Republic because in the Aventine district, I think, of Rome, it was overrun with gangs of former soldiers who never gave up the sword. And they came back, and there wasn't much to come back to. And these are, 45, 50-year-old dudes, and you've got local police forces trying to control them, and it didn't work. So if I'm remembering right, and I may not be, I feel like the attempts to ceremonially end the warrior mentality were maybe part of the later reforms to get ex-soldiers to behave better in civilian life. But in terms of what the ceremony looks like, I don't know. That it's not ringing a bell.
But you, like, when I think about you now, Lee, I think about hockey and I think about your boys.
Yeah.
Those are the two things I think about.
Yeah, for me, that's 100% is when I, especially moving here and finding my passion since I was a kid was hockey.
Really?
Always has been. That is one of the places where I go to, like, that's the closest thing I could probably find to that bond is people sharing that same passion for the game.
Is there an adult hockey league in Huntsville, Alabama?
Yeah, Alabama actually for a long time had the name of a hockey capital of the South. You know, UAH, where Destin goes to school, has a Division I hockey team, and they're actually, for a while they were struggling, but they're actually doing pretty well now. And then we have a SPHL. They have with the Huntsville Havoc. They're a minor league team. You have the Nashville Predators. They have, I think, 3 different adult rec leagues here.
The Nashville Predators absolutely curb stomped my Avalanche last night. That rivalry's not going well for my team.
Oh, you're an Avalanche guy?
Yeah, I don't know. It was fun at first.
He's going to be very happy to hear this season because I'm born and raised a Detroit Red Wing fan, and we're garbage. But that's so the Avalanche and the Detroit Red Wings had a thing for a while.
It used to be fun, Destin. It used to be fun. Our goalies skated to center ice and beat each other senseless. Well, Patrick Waugh beat Osgood senseless, but they were both out there, and Osgood tried really hard, and he seems like a nice guy.
How did Waugh do against Vernon the first time?
Well, I don't know. It was hard to understand. It was French, and I was watching in English, and so I that one was harder for me to decipher.
Vernon bedazzled his forehead with his fist.
Do you remember when Patrick Waugh told Jeremy Roenick? Jeremy Roenick, he's a kind of a tough guy, legit scorer. He ended his career. He ended his career in Phoenix, didn't he?
Yeah.
Played for the Coyotes, I think. And he was given Patrick Waugh the business verbally to the media. And Patrick Waugh said something like, "I'm sorry, I cannot hear you because of all the Stanley Cup rings that are in my ears." It was like, I bet that worked great in French, Patrick. I bet that worked great in French.
Quickly, I want to say thank you to everyone who listened last time and got tickets to ThinkerCon. I just want to say thank you. It's going to be cool.
It is going to be cool.
Over 100 people immediately got tickets from the podcast as soon as we dropped that episode. So thank you.
Whoa, that means a huge percentage of this thing is going to be the third chair.
Exactly. It really is. And so it's a big deal. Thank you. I'm really excited about that. I get to choose how to put you on stage and who to put you on stage with. And so I did that.
Oh, yeah, fun. Oh, it's going to be a lot of great time hanging out with my mom and just catching up on stuff.
And the fireworks are approved, by the way.
Oh, excellent. How long is that fireworks show going to last?
I don't know. Probably 10 minutes or less. I mean, it's not going to be a big deal. But, I mean, by the time people listen to this, we may have already done it. So who knows? It'll be fun. Seriously, I just want to say thank you because that's obviously people supporting this crazy idea that I had. And it feels good to have people believe in you enough to support you. And so thank you.
Yeah. And at an event that size, we should have a chance to say hello to hopefully everybody.
Yeah, be fun.
Cool. Looking forward to it.
So let me ask you this. So you've got 2 things on your forearm over there on the right side. You've got Semper, which means right, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have this autism bracelet.
Yeah.
What's the deal there?
My 2 oldest sons, they're identical twin boys, Jackson and Benjamin. They're on the autism spectrum.
So I teach Jackson and Ben, Matt, and we have these little secret conferences. Lee and I have these secret conferences after class where I'll run out and I'll be like, "Hey, Ben did good today." Or, "Hey, we had a little problem today with Jackson, keeping him under control," or whatever it is. In the first week that I was their teacher, the game was on. It was like, we're going to see what we can get away with in this new class because Dad's not around. And so I was in the room, and Lee and I hadn't talked before it went down. And I was like, well, if they're going to be in my class, I got to jerk a nut in their butt on this first week. I've got to, right?
I mean, these are my sons. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Yo, you know that's a Southern term.
Jerk a knot in their butt?
Yeah, okay, a Southern term for I am going to be the authority in the room.
I think that was a better way to say that.
Okay.
I'd encourage Southerners to embrace, I'm going to be an authority in the room.
I wanted to ask you one more thing about your boys. Mm-hmm. You said something interesting about your boys the other day. You said that it took you a while because of the autism and stuff that you're learning about that. You've been trained as a what's the term, counselor? What's the term?
Sunrise therapy that we do. Yeah.
You've been trained as a autism therapist.
I wouldn't say I was trained as an autism therapist. So we do sunrise therapy where you can go to the Autism Center of America in Massachusetts, and they train parents how to do their sunrise therapy. So, I mean, I would say I guess a therapist for my child, but I don't want to put myself out there like I'm a professional of some sorts.
You said something the other night. I'm just going to repeat it. You said something along the lines of, for you, your sons, it took you a while to get over that by yourself. Like, how is it that you said it?
I said this before to you when I didn't grow up wanting to be an engineer. And I didn't know occupationally what I wanted to do. I was lost. But I always knew, because of my childhood, I wanted to be a husband and a dad. I knew I did want to do that. And I always had it played out in my head. My sons were going to play sports. They're going to be these football stars. They're going to be hockey stars. They're going to, like, you envision what your sons are and your kids are going to be in your head and how you think it's all going to play out. And then when you start seeing developmental delays and you start seeing something's not right, you don't know what it is. Because at the time, I didn't know what autism was. I had no clue what autism was. I thought it was just like some maturity thing. I didn't really know. And then once we got the diagnosis, I'm like, okay, now I know what it is. I'm like, how do I fix it? What's the cure? How do I get rid of this? How do I get him to where I can make him what.
Well, basically, you had a mental image for what you wanted your son to be, which was what? What was that mental image?
Just this, kind of like the jock, this guy who loves sports like I do and have the same interest I do, and they have their own interests, and I had to learn how to appreciate them and not my wants. Sunrise helps you do that. It is like, if there's anything, you can say sunrise therapy is to help your child with autism. If anything, it's to help you be a better parent and understand them and go into their world. And Ben, he's a fantastic writer. I share his writing with him. I read his writing. He, like I said, he's rewrote the Bible twice.
Whoa. What?
I mean, he doesn't change it. He goes in and he reads the stories and he keeps the same stories. He does not change how things worked out, but he just goes in and wrote it out. And then his favorite author is Charles Dickens, and I can't tell you how many times he's rewrote a Christmas Carol.
We're talking about Ben?
Yeah, he's 11.
So Ben has a copy of the Bible that he just made?
Yeah, essentially, that over time, he has Bible stories too that he's gone through.
When you say a copy, do you mean like a letter for letter copy, or
No.
He has rewritten it?
He has rewritten it.
I mean, that level of engagement is incredible. My kids engage with the Bible pretty well, and I'm really happy about that. I have an 11-year-old too. Now we work on memorizing important passages and things like that. But just to voluntarily sit down and want to engage with it in that way is, frankly, for somebody who teaches the Bible and thinks about this a lot, that's amazing to me.
Yeah. The best way I can describe is, you ever put like a PlayStation or an Xbox in front of the kid and you're concerned is they're going to become addicted and not putting down? I'm that way with Microsoft Word. That's my son, Ben. Wow. You put Microsoft Word in front of him, that kid will sit there. He's created comics. He's created novels. He's created short stories. I remember he started off writing out the lyrics to Beatles songs that he thought that it said, and then he would write the lyrics that it actually said, and then he would start writing stories about the song. And then he started writing comics, and then he started writing...
When did he learn how to read?
Early on. So my wife is a creative writing major, and she's a fantastic writer. She has a book out about autism, and she has her blog, and she just really put that into our children early on, and the twins have took off with it, like 3-4 years old.
What's her blog about?
Her blog is about mainly homeschooling and special needs, and it's called Homeschooling Outside the Box, and it's basically homeschooling special needs children, and it talks about everything from curriculum and homeschooling to sunrise therapy and things that we do to help our children. And she also has a podcast, Homeschooling Outside the Box, and where she discusses the same things. Pretty soon she wants to go start diving into your guys' career of YouTube.
I think it's fascinating that she's doing all that stuff. Let me put it this way. There are a lot of people who would be hugely relieved and excited to get that kind of help and support from a family that's put some thought into how to make that work and work effectively.
Yeah. And she does. We've had families email her, and she's been able to walk them through the process. She's helped people with curriculum. She's directed people towards the sunrise therapy that we do use. we just use Sunrise because that's what's worked for our children. If you're using ABA therapy and that's what's working with your kid, awesome. I'm all for what works for your kids. Every kid's different. It just so happens that the Sunrise therapy is what we've seen the most progression. And she's been able to point other families to that who weren't seeing success in other therapies that they were doing. So it's been great. And that is her passion 100%. I don't know if I have a passion for anything the way Cindy does about homeschooling and special needs. I would like to think that I'm a good father and I love my children and I will do, but like the effort that goes into what she does is incredible.
But you're one of the most involved fathers that I see up there. I see you up there every time I'm there.
Yeah, I try to be, and it's a combination of I've always wanted to be there for my kids. And you guys can attest to this. Your fathers, I always feel like I'm going to miss something. In the past, I was going to school as well, and you can understand that you're doing that now. So I'd go home after work and study, and I just try to be a part of it as much as I possibly can.
What drill instructor techniques have you been able to carry over into parenting?
These are very important. You're about to learn something right now. So first off, do you remember the click and point?
Yeah.
Use it. Yeah, use it for everything. I don't care what it is. Your potty training, click and point at that toilet. I use it for everything. And then when I'm real mad, anybody who's military who's listening to this, if I say knife hand, they're laughing right now. They know what knife. They knife. Yeah. If I go double knife hand.
What's a double knife hand?
What you just did with both hands.
What do you mean you both hands?
No, you have one, out front. You got one a little back in the rear, and you come at them like this, and you got to shake a little bit, like you can't control yourself.
Yeah.
And then you don't yell. You don't yell. You do the whisper threats.
Like what?
Oh, like when you come, like I swear on everything, I'm gonna beat you right here. Like, you know what I'm talking? You get real close to the ear.
Yeah.
Because if you scream and like, oh, he's just losing control again. But if you softly whisper threats into their ear, they're like, wow, there's something going on upstairs with the old man. Do you know what I'm talking about? That's good fathering right there. That's good parenting. Write that down.
I osmosed all of these techniques from my grandfather. I did not realize this.
Yeah.
But I really like the calm, calculated whisper of parental correction.
Yeah, because here's the thing. The yelling is in the eyes. You scream through your eyes. Like if you give them that glare, yes, there you go. There you go. That one, like who just farted in church? Who was that?
Oh, actually, that's a point of pride.
Yeah, that's a point of pride.
We've picked up referring to the kids as pukes. That was definitely a result of my grandpa.
Yeah, stains. Stains a good one.
Yeah, he had names for us.
You're a stain on the Renning uniform.
Look here, you little puke! And my kids know that 9 times out of 10 that is a compliment, and it means I love you.
Yeah,
like in
it
the
means I
Princess
love
Bride,
you.
How as you wish means I love you at our house.
Yeah,
you little rat puke. You little rat-faced puke means I love you.
Did he use the drill instructor frog voice? All drill instructors have a frog voice.
How does that go?
So a lot of times they try to talk like that, they get that going. But here's the thing. Some, it's authentic. Some, it is not. And I have caught those that it was not. Yeah. So here's the thing is they try, like when you're a drill instructor, they teach you to scream from the diaphragm, right? But you can't do it all the time. So sometimes you're coming from the throat and you're blowing out vocal cords. And so like they literally permanently damage that voice. So now they talk like this and they're all in your face and you're like, wow, that's terrible.
Yeah, they start
Can you imagine going home and be like,
John
I love
Fox.
you?
Being tender with a woman.
Yeah, being intimate with the wife, like, yeah, come here, girl. You're like this. I feel like this is like a violent Barry White. I don't know what to do. Yeah. But then there's times where like
Bible hour video, I kid you not, just missed having that for transition music. I went to palm5.com and just Googled like sexy Barry White knockoff. And I had all this stuff for this complex video about biblical interpretation where all the transitions were gonna be that. Oh yeah. Hermeneutics. And I couldn't quite bring myself to do it.
You should do it.
But then there's the younger, a lot of the newer drill instructors, they stand out because they don't have that frog voice. So they start to fake it, and then all of a sudden, like, they're like, pupil, and they're doing all. And then all of a sudden you catch them on the side, like, how's it going, Bob? Like, and you're like, that's not real. And oh yeah.
Let me ask you one more question. What do you think is the bigger challenge in life? Right, joining the Marines, going through boot camp, actual combat, all that stuff, or the fatherhood thing?
Fatherhood.
There was no hesitation there.
Not at all. I never had a single panic attack or any speck of anxiety when I was a Marine. I did because I had me to worry about. I didn't have anybody else. If I were to die in combat, if anything were to happen to me, that was me. I was okay. I am literally in charge of turning 3 boys and a little girl into men and a woman. And by the grace of God, I raise them in a way that they're a productive member of society, and they are godly people, and they are Christ-centered and focused, and that scares the life out of me sometimes, that I'm going to fail. And that it's the hardest thing I've ever done, like, to know that I have to provide and create these adults, and the thought of failure in that, I've never had fear like that. And I literally, there's times where, like, anxiety, like, it takes over on that, and I have to go straight to prayer. Like, please tell me I'm not screwing up. I'm not screwing this up.
I get it.
I feel that. Straight up to the anxiety moments, I feel almost no anxiety about the things I do and whether or not I can do them, or if I fail, I can just live with that. But we, this is ridiculous, but we just moved the kids' rooms. Our girls shared a room until a few months ago. And we redid the house for a bunch of reasons and moved people around. The girls have been wanting their own rooms. This is a rite of passage, a very special thing. They've been wanting that for a long time, but they are great sisters. They don't get after each other. They love each other. They're best friends. So we put them in separate rooms. And the first night, we're in our new bedroom and they're in their 2 new spaces. And this is silly. This is over nothing. And I had like a legit panic moment. I'm like, what have I done? I can't undo it. I break their hearts, but now they're not in the same room anymore. Like, everything just changed, and I didn't even appreciate the moment or prepare them for the moment. And I came down from that eventually, but there are just all these tiny things that they don't involve violence or chaos or some dude yelling at you or this gigantic stressful moment. And in these tiny little moments, you realize this is shaping a human, a pair of humans, 3 humans, in your case, 4 humans. And it's hard to know which are the ones that are those pivotal, crucial moments until they've come and gone. And that's the thing that can make me feel a little bit of anxiety, like what you were just describing.
Yeah. It sucks.
I don't know. Okay, I know that was a throwaway comment, but really, it's cool that all 3 of us hurt a little bit over this stuff, that we hand-wring a little bit over it. I'm glad I get a little bit anxious about it, because it means that viscerally, at the really deep, honest level, I really, really do care about this calling. And I really, like you, would like to try to get it right. And it's cool to care about something that much. And I'm not ashamed that I care about it that much.
When I was looking Matt up, one thing caught my eye, and I lost it. And that was...
You brought notes.
I did. I had to write this down. That Matt is an advocate of the bidet system of cleansing the undercarriage after a fecal extrusion.
Say the word extrusion. I lost my Wikipedia.
Do you want to ask any questions about this?
I absolutely... So, you sound like you're a big fan of the bidet. And I need to know how you feel, true feelings, when using it.
Yeah, okay. Well, first of all, it's a time of reflection. So to really answer your question, I need to take us back before the bidet. So as a young man, I felt like one of the real disappointments about defecation was the cleanup process. And I was like, there just has to be a better way. And so I developed a system called the mantra. It's a series of stretching and deep breathing techniques designed to reduce or even eliminate the need for the use of toilet paper. And I became very effective at it, but there's only so much the mantra can do. Am I right? So when I found out that there was such a thing as a warm water bidet on a trip to Europe, I thought, that's just something I have to have for myself. There's got to be techniques that I can combine with the mantra to make this. When I get into that brain space, that space of just total openness and connection with the universe, it's like everybody is me and I am everyone at once. We're like an aspen tree where all of the roots are connected and we're just one organism. When I'm there, you don't step off to move to another system. You just stay in that place as long as you can.
I've experienced the Toto.
What's that?
That is,
What is
so
that?
the Toto is a bidet toilet combo, and it has dials. Like, see these arm things here?
Yeah.
So it'll have like his, and it'll have a thing for her. Like, so when the front one, like they're angled differently.
Yeah.
And then you have one for backside, and I experienced that. And I legitimately had to question who I was as a person when I used that. Because there's a part of me that I sat there kind of with this like smile, like, I feel naughty. And then there was a part of me that was like, the Marine in me was like, get off the toilet.
I'm a certified minister, and I can assure you, it's moral.
Well, good. Well,
There you go. Did that answer all your bidet questions?
yeah, that was all my bidet questions.
So a little bit of give and take here. This was a good time.
It's like I feel like I know him way more now. Matt, it was awesome meeting you, brother.
Yeah, this was a treat, man. I look forward to the more actual face-to-face version.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was a lot of fun.